Is there anyone with any question on these two topics?
No, sir.
Okay, then. Now, if I may ask, why do we actually need this object in the first place? Why? What is the purpose of the object? Hmm? Ademola?
The purpose?
Yeah, the purpose. Why do we need object?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay. But I've explained many times in the class anyway, the reason why we need an object. Joshua, do you have an idea why we need the object? What is the purpose of the object? Do you know? Yes or no? It's just a yes or no.
Is it to improve data or some
Is it to do what?
improve like data or
Improve data?
huh?
Improve data?
Yeah,
How do you mean by improve data?
like just to make it better.
No. Okay. I want you to do a little research on that. Why object? Why? So you tell me in the next class. Why object?
Yes, I did Google it actually. But
Okay. So tell me.
they said improve code organization by bundling data and behaviors together.
That's much better. You just explained it now. You just said improve data, and that was the reason why I asked, how do you mean by improved data? When I ask question, I know the reason why I'm asking. So you need to understand what improvement, what which word can I use? What is object bringing into data manipulation? So those are the things that you need to have at the back of your mind when you are trying to consider any data structure. Data structure is how your data is being stored, accessed, and stored, accessed, and deleted. No data management. Single value is some level of data structure. Array is a data structure. Object is a data structure. Map is a data structure. We have many others like the set, the list, the tree, hash table, and so on and so forth. So you need to understand what different types of data structure, what are they bringing to the table? So I will continue. Now, like I said earlier on, we've seen how to create objects using the literal and the factory function. So today, we are going to look into constructor function. Constructor function. Excuse me, please. Now, constructor function is similar to factory function in the sense that they are both function, right? But what is the difference? Or what are the differences? In constructor function, you are going to use the this keyword and the new keyword, new. If you remember in the factory function, you have if you have a function, I'm coming, let me minimize something here. It's kind of distracting me. Let me do this. Let me try to demarcate so that I can write both side by side. So in this case of person, we can say, okay, we only need the first name, for example, just to make it as simple as possible. Then the curly brace. So we say under this, we return an object, a literal object. So in this case, we say the first name property is assigned the first name parameter, then the last name is assigned the last name parameter. And when we call this function, say maybe let Josh, we call this person, we now give it Josh, Nickel.
So is that the surname you're putting?
We said?
Is that the surname you're putting in?
Yeah, the name of this object, this person I'm creating.
Yeah, and the second person. Is
The
it
sec-
the surname?
yeah, the
or-
surname. This is the surname. You know, this is the
Okay.
first name, and the surname. No, last name and surname means the same, right? Right? Surname, last name, the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Good. So this is just a comma here, comma. No, I wrote it down here because there's no space here. So Josh, the first name, and the last name or the surname, Nicole. So this person now, if I do console.log, Josh, this I will have John Nicole inside the object. Now let's come to, this is factory function. Factory. Now let's come to constructor. Constructor is also a function. Now, there is a naming convention to differentiate constructor from any other one. We use a capital letter, uppercase, just to differentiate. It's just a naming convention, doesn't mean anything. So first name, last name, or the surname, as the case may be. Then we use the this keyword, this dot first name. We assign the first name in there. Then this dot last name, or the surname as the case may be. We assign that last name in there. Then I can close it. So when I want to create an object, remember this is just a blueprint, just like the architectural plan of a building. This is just a blueprint. So to now create the real object, the actual object, which is if I use the building, which is the house, we use the architectural plan to now construct the building, the house. So to now have the real object, which I want to name Josh again here, just for us to compare. I will use a new keyword here, new person. The blueprint, the prototype, as the case may be. Now I use Josh and Nico. So now using this, I've created an object. If I want to print again, I can do console.log Josh, and it will give me the same thing as this. To give me an object in form of what? Josh and Nico. And just like normal object, I can access. If I want to call this for this first name, I'll just say Josh dot first name and Josh will not be printed out to the screen. Similarly, I can do Josh dot last name and Nico will be printed out to the screen. Same thing applies to this. Let's quickly demonstrate this on the IDE before we close for the day. I'm not going to go beyond this constructor today. Okay, I think the class is building now. Okay, that's fine. David is okay. If time permits, then we can go ahead. I thought we were still like 3-4 before. So I'm going to the browser. So if I say function person first name, last name, and I say this dot first name, I assign the FN, then this dot last name, I assign the last name. So if I want to create an object, I can call that variable Josh, new person, Josh, then Nicole. And if I do console.log, Josh there, and I run, you will see I have the first, oh, I misspelled this. That should be FIRS. Reprint again. This first name, Josh, and last name, Nico. Let's say I want to print out this only Josh. All I need to do is just to do Josh dot the first name. And similarly, Josh dot last name. If I run, you can see I have Josh, which is this first name, Nico, last name. Is there any question? Is there any question?
No, sir.
Good. Now, let's compare that with the function factory. I'm going to just copy the same thing here and paste just to save me typing. We change this to lowercase b, but instead of these dots, I'm going to use, hold on, just first name, then semicolon, then last name, semicolon. So I can just say, Sean Clinton. I'll print Sean here, print Sean's first name, print Sean's last name. Now I want you to notice something here. I am not using the new keyword here. I'm only called okay, sorry. I need to return. See? I need to return the object. I need to return this object, right, into this Sean. Now, like I said earlier on, you will see that in the constructor function, which is this, I use the this keyword and the new keyword. But in the case of a factory function, there's no keyword, no new keyword here, and there's no this keyword here. That is the main difference. And this one returns, it returns an object. Now I want you to notice something. When I run this, okay, it should be a comma. It's a comma separated. Now you can now look at this. This one has a person type attached to it. But this other one is just a literal object. Right? That is another major difference. This Josh here is of type, just like we have type of numbers, type of Boolean, type of strings, and so on. So this Josh now, the type is what? A person. That is the major difference between the constructor function and the factory function. If I go down, although we will still talk much more about this when we get to function. If I come here Let me paste here and go to console. If I log. Now, if I expand this person, it has first name, last name as property on it. If I expand this other one to, it's the same thing. But by the time, like I said, we get to function, you will see the another difference between this type of this constructor function and the factory function. There's something called the prototype, which I can um kind of define method on this object, but on this I may not be able. And if you look at the content of this prototype, you will see that they are similar in nature. And the simple reason is because of this object. This object. This object. Everything is all about object. Everything on this browser is object. Now, what is inheritance? Just like real human structure, we have great grandparents, we have grandparents, we have parents, we have children, we have grandchildren, and so on and so forth. All those in that line is what inheritance. You have the great grandparent and the grandparent inherited from the great grandparent, parents inherited from grandparents, the children inherited from the parents, and grandchildren we also will also inherit from children, because at a point in time the children will now become a parent at some point, having what their own children also. So object is the father of all. Father of all. Everything is inherit from this object, be it the windows, be it the strings, be it numbers. Everything comes from this object, and that is why. And that is the reason why. Let me go back to the browser. That is the reason why you will see objects. This object in all of the types. Okay, let's clear this console. Let's just do ordinary string. Let's say, let me Tola. Now, what is Tola? This string called Tola. Sorry, me rather, me. Now, if I go to the proto, something called the proto, I think I've explained this before. You will see that you will see that the type is a string, just as you have this type here, right? For Josh, but for this one is just normal object, no particular type. So me, you will see this me is a string. And remember, if when I said that if you want to declare a string, you use the double quotes. So this double quotes made this data, sorry, this variable of type string. So if I expand it to, if all these ones are properties of the string, properties are methods of the string. But if you go down, you will see this object. Can you see this object? You will see that object, because string itself also inherits from that object type. So, like I said, we are going to talk more on that when we get to function. So, is there any question on this constructor function? Is there any question?
No, sir.
If you say no, I have question for you. I have question for you. Look very well and ask me question.
I
David,
can't see it properly.
you can't see my screen properly. I'm sharing the screen
No,
now.
I can't. It looks blurry to me, but it's not blurry. I just need to maximize it.
Maybe it's your network. Mary, is there any question you want to ask me? But David has left. Feromi, is there any question you want to ask me?
No, sir.
Okay. So, Mary, is there any question you want to ask me? Mary has slept too. Yeah?
Oh, Mary hasn't left. She's still here.
Yeah, as in it appears she has slept. Maybe she has slept off.
It says slept. Oh,
Maybe, yeah. Oh, she's back. Hello, Mary. Is there any question for me?
No, sir.
No question. Okay. I have question for everybody. Since no one no one is asking me question. What is this? What does it mean? What does it mean?
Uh,
Aha.
can I try?
Oh, why not try?
Yeah. Is a keyword that is fancy to
no.
the
It's a keyword that is what?
pointing
Pointing, okay.
to the proper CFN,
Hmm. Hmm.
FN and NN. Yeah, first name and last name.
Hmm. You are close, but not very well. Not very well.
So
Anyone?
what was the question?
Okay. My
I
question
was
is
listening.
okay. Okay, don't worry. I'm going to repeat the question. My question is, what is this? This one. What is it? What does I'm asking in another form, what does it mean? What does this keyword mean? What does it mean? What does it do?
Uh,
Why do you have
so
to?
does it mean
Yeah, you said you want to try.
does it specify a specific function?
No. You have the internet in front of you. Quickly search the Google and tell me.
Does it refer to the object depending on how it's used?
Okay, good. It depends on how.
Wait, I can't hear you.
Yes, I'm with you. It depends on
Oh.
its usage. Yes. Hmm.
Does it refer to the object alone?
Okay.
Uh,
Is that what you are
it
reading
refers,
there? You are reading it from the internet, right?
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
reading it from the internet. Since
Okay.
he told me to Google. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So you are free.
supposed
So do you understand what the internet is saying about that word, this?
Yeah, I think it's I think I do understand it in relating to this code because they said that this keyword refers to different objects depending on how it's going to be used
Okay.
on.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you now, in this present program now, what is the this referring to?
So,
Yes.
Oh my
it refers to
person.
it refers to the index within this string.
No. No. Okay. Because of our time. Now, earlier on I said, is there any question? Everybody said no question. And you are looking at that keyword this right in front of you. You don't actually know what is doing there, what it means. You should have asked. You should have asked. Now, this keyword refers to the instance object. What does that mean? Because that's a big English. It's a simple English, but it connotes a lot. What does that mean? What does it mean? It refers to the instance object. If you look at this line 6, we are creating an object with this new. Now, the new keyword is the process of creating an object is called the instantiation. Instantiation is simply the process of creating a new object. A new object. So this is a variable. Inside it, or maybe okay, let me explain again, because I cannot remember I explained this part. Now, what's the time? I'm conscious of the time, please. Is okay, 8:29. Okay, good. Now, there's something called the value and the reference. Reference. When we declare, is it the time? Okay. When we declare, for example, a variable called number, and we assign, for example, 20 to it, this is a number and it's a value type. The manner in which this data is stored in the computer memory is different from the way objects are stored. What do I mean? Now, let's say we have a memory. I'm not saying that this is what is happening in real life. but I'm just trying to paint a scenario. Let's say this is a memory of your computer. Now, the computer will allocate a memory space here, right? Which it will now tag number like a label. And inside that place, it will now store this 20 inside. So the number is holding that value, right? But in the case of objects, listen carefully, please. Listen carefully. In the case of objects, you will see that a variable is created here. So somewhere in the memory, you have that Josh label, but this object created, this object, right now, something like this kind of object holding Josh, this one now, where is it? I think we ran it here. This object here is being created, right? This object is not stored directly stored inside this variable. It is stored somewhere within the memory. So this is the object. And this variable is now pointing to it. There's a reference to that. That is why, listen carefully, listen carefully. That is why if I create another object, say, let me, and I say new person, and I give it the same name, Josh, and Nicole. Now, if I now say, is Josh equal to me, this will return false. It will say they are not equal. Why? Because when this statement is run, a variable me is created somewhere else, and this object, another object is created somewhere, anywhere within the memory, and me is now pointing to it. So what the computer is seeing here is that these guys are different. This is one object, this is another object. But this is reference. This is what we call reference type. Reference type. But if I say let x equal 20, because it's a value type, right? X is created somewhere in the memory. Let's see here, label X, and 20 is now stored in it. So X is also holding 20. And if I say it is number, this number here, is it equal to X? It will return true. Why? Because these two variables are value type, it will compare the value within the variable. But in the case of reference, it will not compare what the values are. It will only check, are the references the same? Since they are not equal, this Josh is referencing this object here. Me is referencing this object here. So it will return false. They are not the same. Now, let me now create another object. Let you and now I assigned Josh here. You can see I'm only assigning Josh into this. I'm not creating a new object. So what am I doing here is this. In the memory, a variable called u will be created. A variable called u will be created, and it will now reference the same object because I've assigned this object into u. And that simply means that if I compare the two, if I say Josh, is it equal to u? This will return true. Yes, they are equal because they are both pointing to the same object. But in the case of Josh and me, Josh is pointing to this object and me is pointing to another object. Is it clear? Do you have question on this value and reference I just explained? Is there any question on the value and reference I just explained? Ademola, is there any question?
No, sir.
Joshua, is there any question?
Sir, could you explain the value part?
Okay. I said the value type, right, stores the value
Yes.
within themselves, right? And because they hold the value, anytime you compare the two variables, as the case here, the values are compared together. And once these values are compared, and you know that 20 is the same as 20 here, it will return a true Boolean. But in the case of reference, the object is not stored as value. We have two things in play here. You have the object reference variable. This one here is the object reference variable. It's a variable. The variable is created and it is now pointing to this object. This is an object. You can see it from here that it is an object. How do I know it's an object? Because of these curly braces. So the Josh here is now pointing to this object. Me, I created a new person here, me. That one also is pointing to another object. Because these two variables are pointing to different objects, if you try to compare the two, it will return a false. They are not the same because they are not referencing the same object. But if I create another variable called u and I assigned Josh to it, that simply means that this variable u is now pointing to the same object as Josh. So if I compare these two together, right here, you will see it returns true. Is that clear, Joshua?
Yes, it's good, sir.
It's clear. Mary, is there any question?
No, sir.
Feromi, is there any question?
No, sir.
Let us just quickly demonstrate that now. I'm going to comment out all this. Let's say, okay, no, let me undo. Let me just, okay, let me
Ah.
use this blueprint here. So let me.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Have you explained this?
No, I've not explained this. I'm still coming there. I want you to understand what the value type and reference type is. So let's just practicalize that first. So I will come back to this because this has to do with the reference, right? So now let's say I create another object here. Let's say me. And this exactly the same thing, right? No difference. Let me just comment out this. So now, and I say, okay, console.log, the log is Josh equal to me. False. They are not equal. The reason I've explained earlier on. Despite the fact that they hold the same data, but they are different objects. But if I do let you, if I assign Josh to this you, and I compare the two together, Josh and you, are they the same? You should say true, they are the same. Because the two variables, Josh and you, they are pointing to the same object. However, when we look at value type, let number, and I assign 20 to it, and I create another number, another variable x, and I assign the value 20 to it. If I console.log is number equal to x, and you see it will return true right there. Now, having practicalized that, let me now come to this keyword. The actual thing going on behind the scene is called function binding, but I will not go there now. I won't talk about that now. But for me to explain to you in a layman language, this is, let me clear all this one first. Clear this, clear this, clear that, clear this. Okay, and this one too. Let me uncomment all this back. So at this point in time, this is when I use this new keyword, I'm creating an object of type person. I'm storing into Josh. Now this keyword is now referring to any object that is created. In this case now, it is Josh. That is the reason I can do Josh dot. It's like this. Where's my pen? It's like when I create this new keyword, it's like Josh, right? Is being assigned the this keyword. That so the this. So now let's break this down. Let's break this down right here. I just want to explain to you in a layman. So the function, this may not be the actual thing happening. Like I said, something more like binding is happening behind the scene anyway. But just for you to understand. I have that and the code block. Now, something like this is happening. A this object is created, empty, right? And now, because this is an object, then I can do this dot first name, right? I will assign whatever name, maybe Tolu here. Then this dot last name, I will assign maybe Ola here. So if I now then the function will now return. Let me clean that, it's too rough. The function will now return something like will now return this. So when you now call the function so this will be created, and whosoever is now calling it, the object this will now, here is an object, right? Will now be returned, assigned to the judge. That is to a layman. So now, for us to prove this, that this is actually working, let's do something. Let me clear the screen. If I comment out everything here, I'm still coming back to it. If I say me, okay, let's undo. Let me, and I assign an empty object there. And here and I say me dot first name, and I say Tolu there, and I do me dot last name, and I assign Ola there. So if I can now print, say what is me. Let's see what is inside me. Console.log me. And what did I do there? You will see something is wrong.
So I think the problem is on line 30.
Line 30.
Because like me, the first name isn't in the let me bracket, I think.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. I'm coming.
Okay.
Let me see. Token. Line what? 7. Ah, let me look very well. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, this one. So you can see objects. So that is exactly what is going on here. But like I said, that's a layman of explaining. The actual thing going on there is what we call the function binding. We are going to treat binding when we are going into function fully. So now, let me clear this. What's the time, please? Okay, it's almost time. So now, when we get to events, we are still coming to that event later anyway. Event. When we come to when we get to event is, for example, clicks, mouse over. As I am mousing over my this my document, right? It's an event. Let me prove it to you. Let me go to the back end. Let me close this one. Let's go to the back end. Let me just say document dot add events listener. And what type of mouse event do I want to add? Let me, can I recollect this? Okay, mouse is it, okay, I think there's mouse over. But the mouse over, okay, let me just let me try this one first. So I will now give it an handler. Don't worry about this. We are still going to talk about that. So alert, mouse moved. Add event is a mouse over function. Okay, this closes that closes that, then that closes that. Okay. So if I come here, you can see mouse move. Just because I mouse over this document here, you can see it's an event. Mouse movement is an event, right? You can see mouse moved because this mouse over is an event. And where is the event happening? It's happening on the document. And this document is calling this function. We are not the one calling the function. It is this document that I am moving my mouse over that is calling the function. In fact, let me now, when you are talking about this, in this event case, the this keyword always refers to what is on the left hand side. What do I mean by that? It simply means that what is calling the function, what is calling that function. Let me even try to do something. Let me see where I can print this. Console.log. This, print this for me. If I put my mouse here, okay, let me clear this one, console. Aha, now you can see, look at what is happening. You can see it's now printing the document. Look, can you see that this is the entire document, which means that this keyword is referring to this document. And that is why I can print the entire document. You can see that this is HTML. This is the entire document. So it depends on where that this is being used. When we are talking about events, the this also refers to the object that is calling this function. So when I mouse whatever thing, if, for example, maybe I created an H1, for example, an H1, let me just I'm just using H1. Let's say I created an H1 element, right? And I gave it maybe an ID or whatever. So if I put it here, that element will be the one to call this function. And the this keyword is referring to that H1 element. So it is whatever is right on the left hand side. In our case, it is the document. You can see, let me clear the screen again. As I mouse over, you will see the document being printed so many times because I am mousing over. You can see many, you can see, look at it, and it's all the same thing. Is there any question on that now? Is it clear? Is the this clear? So the this in this case here is referring to the object created. And it is this Josh now that we now call this first name, the property, the last name. It's as if Josh is now being replaced here. And that is the reason why you can use Josh dot first name, Josh dot last name. Is there any question?
No.
Okay. Now, assignment. Assignment. This assignment will be the simplest of all. For gear up, because we have a lot of work to do. It's just a pity that we are moving at a very snail speed. By now, you should have gone into events, gone into. Okay, let me show you something. Let me just show you something. Where is my screen again? Let me just quickly show you a little thing somewhere. I think is yes, this one. Yes. Now, look, I want you to take a look at this. This is familiar, right? This is CSS. Am I right? Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. And we are now inside what? An HTML. So the style sheet, the CSS is embedded into the head, which simply means that this is internal CSS, internal style sheet. This is a body, right? Now, and this is JavaScript, right? This is a script. It's also embedded into the HTML, right? Now, you can see a lot is going on here, but not too much, right? Now, this is what I've explained before, a factory function. This is an array, right? And this one is also a function, right? And this is another function. Now, I should have shown that code anyway. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So if I run this, you will see something like a form, something like this, right? So it's like maybe you are in a school and you are trying to register the name of a candidate. Maybe you have Mary JJ. Let's say 20, female. We submit. One student registered. It should be students anyway. That can be fixed. Now, in a real world scenario, the moment I click submit, this data has gone to the database, saved therein. This is just a simple app. There's no validation going on here. It's just to demonstrate that how you can use your object, your array, to create a simple app like this. If I register the next student, Josh Clinton, let's say 18, male, I submit to, right? So 2 students registered, and maybe I have Ade and surname Ola, age, let's say 22, and is a male. I submit. 3 students. Let me do one more. Fair on me. Right in there. And George, let's say 16, female, registered. So maybe after you have registered so many students, the owner of the school now says, okay, give me a report. I want to know the number of students registered. I want to know their demography, how many males, how many female, and what is the average age, right? So you click on report, this will be given. Student count is 4. How many males are there? 2 males, 2 females, and the average age is 19. So you can see how you can use JavaScript to do such. This without this JavaScript, that behavior cannot happen. And this is also what this is HTML, right? I cannot do this formatting, this arrangement without CSS. The HTML gives me this text box, the H1, the whatever this is, maybe it's a paragraph, whatever it is. So that is HTML. For me to arrange it at the center, CSS. For me to add all these behaviors, JavaScript. You can see how the 3 technologies, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, how they work together to give you a beautiful app. Whichever site you go, okay, look at this jump, because I was trying to help somebody to print what's it called, jump results. Now, some people are familiar with it. I'm not sure whether you are familiar with this jump, but I know most people from Nigeria are familiar with this. So now you can input the name, then password and login. Once you click this login, right, then it will take you to the person's page, right? And all this is just what? HTML, CSS, and even look at this. To me, those that designed this page, they are. I'm sorry to say, I'm not judging anyone. They are still amateur to me, because why would you give an image a kind of background? Yeah, no, image is image. It should blend. Okay, let me see something. Let me go to, let me see whether I can see PMI. Let's see PMI. PMI.org. Let's see this one. Let me see. Okay, it's coming up. Okay, login page. Let's see their login page. No, okay, just look at this image here. Are you seeing any borderline around it? No. Image is image. Except you want to create something like a shadow. Aha. A shadow is different from the all-round border. It's different, right? So the same thing here. You put in your username, your password, and you log in. We are still coming here. Now look at this image here. No shadow, whatever, around it. Yes, if you decide to do a reflection down here, fine, no problem. That's a reflection. That's what we call shadow. You can do that. That is still allowed, but not that square looking box. No, within around your image. Yeah, this one is still acceptable, because it's what's it called again in graphic? I think it's yeah, is it embossed, something like that? I can't remember. Let me see. Emboss. Is it emboss? No, it's not emboss. Let me see this word. Emboss. Aha. Yes. So stand. Yes. Emboss. Yes. That's the word. Decorated with a design that stands out. Stands out. So yes, I understand the fact that they are trying to make this login to stand out. Yes, that is still it's still understood anyway, but not now. Look at this image here. This is fine. This is fine. So that is how you can you are still going to work on things like this. You are going to combine everything together. All these pieces that we are teaching, you will come a time will come, you have to bring all the puzzles together. That is the reason why you need to keep reviewing the videos, because if you don't, you will forget the past lectures. There's no way you can. There's no way you won't forget. You will forget, except you review the recordings. That is why we are doing recordings and we are sending it out. Review, please. So back to my assignment. Back to the assignment. The assignment is create objects. Object is plural, not object. Objects using one, literal, two, factory function, three, constructor function. And whatever properties that you create within this object, I want you to access and print out. Okay, let me access the properties of all created objects and print out their respective values. So that is the assignment. Is there any question on the assignment?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'm sending it to the WhatsApp group. So in the apps, is there any question? Is there any question?
No, sir.
No question. Now, I want to ask, should we change the timing from 7:30 to 8 p.m.? So the class will now be 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Because I have discovered for some time now that people don't come 7:30 p.m. They come almost 8 p.m. So if 8 p.m. is the perfect time, at least for now,
No, I don't think 8 p.m. is the perfect time for me because
Eh,
I can't join.
okay. But
But
why do you say
it's night time.
hold on? Why do you say it's not perfect time for you?
Because that's when I go to bed. I don't.
But
That's
hold
when.
on, hold on. This is already past 9, and
Yeah,
most of the time we end the class around 9 o'clock. So you have been staying up for this period of time. That is what I'm trying to point out to you. So on Tuesdays and Saturdays that we have been meeting, if you attend a class, for most of the time you have been up between this window period, and that is the more reason why I tried not to extend the class beyond 9. But today I just had no choice. I had to explain those concepts very well, then give you assignments, right? So to me, that is not an excuse anyway. Oh, let me end this. Oh, it has gone into the recording. It shouldn't.